Hi guys! Welcome back to another Lit Chicks in the month of February, the month of love. And actually for this month we got to read Fight or Flight, which is our first, I should say, steamy read. Like super steamy. I mean, the Duke one was kind of steamy.
Yeah, it had a steamy moment, but it was towards the end.
Yes, towards the end. But this one was like right from the beginning. Steamy. So yes, our first steamy read. Definitely maybe not for the faint of heart.
No, please be ready.
There was a couple of girls that have been following, and I was like, I don't know if this one's for you. Wait till we get another cute one. But yeah, so what do we have in this book? We have Ava.
We have Ava, the main character, that she works for an interior design company. She's a professional, self-made woman. She is returning back from her hometown in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, Phoenix, Arizona, I believe.
And
somewhere in Arizona.
Yes, Arizona. She's leaving a funeral for an old high school friend. On the flight, she comes across this really mean, rugged, like super rude, no manners, Scottish guy named Caleb. We find that out later. But they have a few interactions that are, just leave a sour taste in her mouth. She cannot stand this guy. He's very like rude. He takes her first class seat and he does not apologize. He's just one of those guys that's unapologetically mean.
Like the whole time.
The whole time. Yeah. The whole time. And he's just like, they just don't mesh well at first. But it almost feeds into their attraction as well, because there's a very obvious first attraction to each other. With a little bit of turbulence in the flight, meaning that a flight gets canceled and they have to book another one. Because they're going to the same destination, they end up in the same flight again.
And the same hotel.
In the same hotel, waiting for the flight in the next morning kind of thing. So she has to like constantly interact with this guy that she can't stand. But I guess he does pull through. Yes. Because they do have a couple instances where he's kind of nice and she's kind of like, I guess, whatever, but you're still mean.
She calls him the Scott bastard. The bastard Scott.
The bastard Scott. And so, I guess on their way back, the like spark a little bit of a little something. You know, they meet up in the hotel before they fly back to their ultimate destination, Seattle. What happens with them?
Boston. Boston.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So on their ultimate destination of Boston, before they take the flight there, they kind of come across like a little understanding. They're like, you and me, we don't get along in real life. We can't be friends. But there is some sort of spark here. Let's act on it. And that's where we leave it. Just on this spark. Just this once. So they act on it.
And then what ensues is like a series of, I mean, I guess hookups.
Yes, because then it's kind of like so tantalizing. It's so epic when they're together. Even Caleb himself has to give her that nod of like, hey, you're right. This is kind of epic what we're going through. I think I want this to happen again. I want to repeat us meeting up. Could you do this and only this? Don't ask for anything more than this. At first she's kind of hesitant because she's like, I'm not sure because I really don't like him, but you know, he's really good in the bedroom. And she's kind of like stuck in
hooking up, you know, hanging out. Will feelings develop? Will they not? Will they find a softer side to the bastard Scott? Will, I don't know.
Well, we don't know. See, that's the thing. As the more hookups happen, you know, he's there at Boston for a very temporary time. He's a CEO of a big company over in the UK side. He's coming over to lend his opinion and his helping hand. He discovers some stuff with the company. They kind of elongate to stay. So during that stay, they keep hooking up. So this is like where the plot kind of starts changing, because the closeness that starts happening with the more interactions that they have, she kind of feels herself falling for him. She starts seeing that other side of him that she had always been curious about. But Caleb will not let himself feel. He will not let himself be official. And this is where the big conflict comes from.
Alright, so sexy factor. I'm laughing because right away in chapter 2, I think. Chapter 2 or chapter 3.
Girl.
It's sexy.
Girl.
I will say this is like, this is the sexiest book we've read so far.
This is the sexiest book by far we've read.
Yes, which is like, it's Samantha Young, so it's expected if you've read any of her books.
Samantha Young's got it.
Yeah, she does know how to write good sex scenes.
She does.
I'm gonna give her that. They are still like super hot, and you're like, oh my god, but kind of like you can see that happening in real life.
Yes. Because real life sex scenes, not like this, like all of a sudden you just orgasm over just looking at him. Yeah, that's not real.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it was. I think it was pretty like it. I don't know. I just felt like it was. She writes them really good.
She does.
So it's not, and they're not also like overly graphic either.
Because some women take it real far.
Like I'm like, okay, let's not name weird names to things. Like I'm not into that. Like just call it what it is. We're sexy.
They were very sexy.
And there were a lot of them scattered throughout the whole book.
Yes, like every, chapter.
Like every other chapter there's a sexy scene.
You got a little sun. A little sprinkle of sun.
Yeah, and even when they're not actually doing it, like there are parts like that you can feel like the chemistry, their reaction to each other.
Love that. I live for those scenes. Yeah, like when you feel the spark between people.
Yeah, like, I actually think I like those scenes better because it's like the build up, like to the actual act. I guess it's even better.
You like tantalized, like ooh.
You're like you start blushing.
Next,
I'm like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? And honestly, I think I read this book really quickly because I had to. I was so addicted. Like I had to find out.
It's a quick read.
Oh, super quick. So with all those sexy scenes. It'll pass before you know it. You'll want to keep reading more.
So I say it from a 1 to 5. This is a 5.
Oh, definitely a 5.
A 5.
Definitely a 5. And then masculinity factor.
A 1 being toxic, a 5 being a wimp.
Right?
Yes.
I think that was it, right?
I think that's what we did. A complete wimp. So, in the middle, that's where we want the guy to be in the middle.
We want to be, and for the most part, I feel like we've had guys that have been in the middle. I think we've only had
the Duke.
The Duke was more on the toxic side. And I have to say, I think Caleb is more on the toxic side for me.
Caleb is very much on the toxic side.
Much as, like, I can tell how hot he is. Yeah. I can, like, even I was like, oh my god, I need to go to Scotland.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wow, like, this guy is super hot. He's awesome. But I think he's more on the toxic side for me. I mean, and then even Ava says it a few times. Well, not a few times, all the time.
He really, like, breaks her.
Yes.
He breaks her.
She calls him a Neanderthal, like, more than once in the book. Like,
absolutely.
he has no really...
And he's really immature about his feelings,
he's very closed off, which is, I get it if you're, like, traumatized over something, but...
Yeah, but you could be a grown-up about something.
He was, like, mean about those things, like, really rude. And she says that a bunch of times in the book as well, like, wow, like, you can't say thank you can't say you're welcome, like, why are you so rude to people, like, why can't you just be a decent human being? She says that in the book a whole bunch of times. I did have a problem with him. I felt like he was a little bit more on the toxic, like, I think, okay, looking at, like, reading it in a book, I was like, wow, he's super hot and sexy. I wish I could meet someone like that.
Yeah.
But I think if I were, like, talking to a friend and telling, like, oh, I met this guy, she'd be like, oh, you better dump him. Like, he's toxic. Like,
if a guy treated you like that, I'd, like, have his balls.
Yes, exactly. That's, like, I kept thinking of that. I was like, oh, would Carla want me dating a guy like this?
No.
Probably not. And actually, in the book Harper, when they're talking about him, and I think that's...
Oh, yeah, the best friend.
That's why I was like, man, this is so relatable. She tells him, she's like, I don't think you should see him anymore because he doesn't seem like a nice guy.
She's like, from what I hear, he doesn't sound good. You should walk away. The best friend warned her.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel like you never get that in books either, or whatnot. He gets kind of better.
Yeah, you know what? We don't get too much after. But we get a little hint that he, how do I put this? That it looks like love is molding him, is softening his edges.
A potential.
Yes. It would be nice, maybe the epilogue could have been longer so we could see how love has changed him because he was so rough around the edges throughout the book. I would have liked more of, like, the after.
Yes. Yeah, I just didn't, he seemed a little bit too possessive for me. Just to, like, I guess the verbiage he would use, like, mine and this and no and, like, very direct language, which to some people is good because he is very honest, so she knows where he's coming from. But I think he was just a little bit too possessive that I probably would have been like, hold on, wait, what did you just tell me? Hold on. Yeah, my mom would not approve. She'd be like, oh, he's cute, but no. So, yeah, I think I have like a love-hate relationship with him.
And I do believe he'll redeem himself later on. Like, when I think about the book in the future, I feel like Love will soften him enough where he's...
Like, Ava will whip him into shape.
Definitely. Like, she'll show him, like, this is not what love is. You actually should be this way. Like, I see Ava doing that to him in the future.
Ava is definitely the bigger person in the book for me.
Absolutely.
Because she admits all these things. I think he has this much character growth. And then she has like this much, where she definitely grows into her own already, which I feel like she's already her own person, despite what's happened to her in the past. So movie rating?
Movie rating, I would say an R.
Rated R. Not X completely.
No.
Because they're still not like super graphic.
No.
But if this was a movie, it would be rated R.
It would be rated R.
Oh yeah, or Netflix mature or whatever. Yeah, so definitely rated R. So, any takeaways or favorite quotes? Anything?
I think a big lesson in here is that sometimes falling in love can be scary, and sometimes falling in love is only for the brave. Because if you're brave enough to say it, to feel it, and to act on it, you know, Ava was brave enough.
Dang. Dang, only for the brave.
Only for the brave.
Only baby. For the brave of heart.
Okay, so I'm going to share a quote that I feel like really ties in with the title and with the whole theme of the book. So this is, I think somebody is giving Ava advice, or it might be from Ava, I'm not sure. So, we're all afraid of something, sweetheart. It's up to us whether we stay and fight that fear or whether we run and hide from it.
That's the book.
Boom!
Definitely, I think that really does tie in with the book, because she definitely has to decide how is she going to handle this situation. Is she going to go for it? I'm going to
fight this fear and like fight for love, or do I run and hide from it?
Exactly.
Which is what Caleb did. He ran and he hid.
And then my quote that I picked is when she's giving him that ultimatum.
Yes.
Like, look, you're running away from me, but this is why you shouldn't. Or if you are, well then, here you go. This is the way it's going to be. So she says, just because you've decided I'm not worth the risk doesn't mean that I'm not willing to take it again. So I have to thank you for that, because it might take weeks, months, but I will fight to get over you. I will fight to find someone who loves me and wants to make a future with me. I will move on. So she's completely laying it out there for him. Like, look, if you're not going to fight for me, that's fine. But just know that I will move on. I'm going to be okay. And I mean, I know, I would like to think that eventually she would have been fine, because she is a very strong person.
I think she would have been fine.
Again, she's like the star of the show for me. I honestly would have probably been okay with a book just about her.
Yeah.
Like, try to solve her problems just with like Harper or whatnot. Because she really is a strong person.
She really is.
She's vulnerable. She admits to that vulnerability throughout the whole book, which is...
that takes strength.
Yeah, that takes strength to be vulnerable, to own up to your feelings, to own up to your emotions, to own up to your mistakes and your regrets and all of this. And she does that throughout the whole book, and I think maybe that's why with Kayla I was like, okay, he's lacking this a little bit. We get a little glimpse of it at the end, but with her, you really see her character develop throughout the whole book, and she just becomes this really strong person. She's able to give love, like you said. Love is only for the brave.
It's only for the brave. She's brave enough to dive into it. But she also did run from it for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Meeting Caleb and sparking all these feelings, she was like, damn, like, I could really do this. I could fall in love. I could be with somebody. I want to be with him. He's not brave enough. I'm going to go try again at that point where she read. If it's not you, I'll find it somewhere. Absolutely.
But yes, so that's pretty much the book. If you need a sexy, fast read, if you're trying to get that Goodreads goal.
You got a badass female that she just comes in and owns up to everything.
Sexy Scottish guy.
Oh my God.
He is sexy. He's Scottish.
The way that he says tea.
Tay.
I was going to tell you.
I have a horrible accent. I cannot do accents, so I'm not even gonna try.
Stephanie likes when I do accents. That was for you, Stephanie.
But yeah, a lot of, for my Outlander girls, Outlander references in this book. I was like, yes, give me more Outlander references. I love that. So, Outlander references, Scottish accents, badass female who likes to be dressed up and beautiful. Definitely take a read of this book.
So, book babes, We will see you next month with our next pick. Follow us on Instagram to keep up with our stuff.
Awesome. Have a good day.
Bye.